because they keep trying to make it a thing before you establish like your heroes. Like you set up more about your villains than the people who are like your comic book fans are going to know the villains. True enough.
Yeah.
But you're trying to get in the casual viewership also, and they're not going to know Polka Dot Man.
True. Yeah, that is for the very hardcore fan.
Yeah, so I saw that when I was like, why would you go with Polka Dot Man? Like, you might as well throw, I can't remember if Kite Man is DC or Marvel.
I don't know.
I think Kite Man is DC. He's a Batman villain.
Yeah, I would imagine anybody who's like a villain like that is generally DC. Like, it's almost like a wholesome named villain.
Yeah.
Weird way.
And I saw that and I was like, I'm on the fence about that one. I saw the Batman, and although I am swayed slightly towards Robert Pattinson's view or take on the Batman, I'm still not a fan of him as an actor. So I'm struggling to actually get excited about a non-martial arts Batman.
For a young Batman, I don't mind it as much. I don't mind him being a little more rough. I liked it. Well, any Batman movie, I'm gonna give a try.
Exactly. Yes.
That's just gonna happen, for me anyway. So,
but how do you feel about the Batman, Batflick, and the Flash?
That's the only confusing thing about it. Like, are they keeping this Batman movie separate? Like, what are they doing with it? So that's where I get a little confused along the way of things. I really dug it. I liked everything they're doing with it. I like the fact that they're finally giving the Riddler his due.
We'll see. I'm holding out on that one.
Well, I like Paul Dano. So
okay.
He's a great actor, so I don't really have. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about him. I will say, Colin Farrell's unrecognizable as the Penguin.
I will agree with that one also.
So weird. I want to know how they're doing it, how they're going to play this out, because it's, if you are keeping them all in line where they all work, or is this a separate Batman universe where they're just making a Batman movie like they did with the Joker?
Okay.
Or because, and I was wondering, because all those kids who are wearing like Joker makeup.
Yeah.
Is this Batman set in that world of the Joker?
What do you mean?
Like,
from the Joker. Oh, okay.
And they're just like disciples of who the Joker was.
Okay.
I'm intrigued with what they're doing, but I don't. How are they going to tie it all in together? There's cell phones in this, so obviously it's not the same. It's not the same Batman. Like, it can't take place in the 80s. Well, I guess if the Joker took place in the 80s, this could take place in like the 2000s.
I can see. So my concern is always for DC, because I'm much more of a DC comics fan, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe is leaps and bounds better, right?
Yeah, but that's because it's planned.
So my concern is I don't know if you watch any of the CW TV shows, but they did a crossover for Ezra Miller's Flash and Grant Gustin's Flash in the TV show.
Yeah, so I know it's going to be, the multiverse is a thing.
So they could potentially do that multiverse, and there were talks maybe earlier this year of Michael Keaton reprising his role as an older Bruce Wayne to do the Terry McGinnis thing. And I was like, even if that's just a rumor, I'm completely down for just seeing him jump back into that role.
Well, I have good news for you. It is not just a rumor. They did confirm that the next Flash movie is going to have Michael Keaton playing Batman, and it is going to have Ben Affleck playing Batman. And the Michael Keaton Batman is going to predominantly be figured into the movie. So now they might be tricking us, and they might do Flashpoint, and if that's the case, they'll do Flashpoint, and maybe Michael Keaton will be playing Thomas Wayne's Batman from Flashpoint. That'd be interesting.
It would be. I'm definitely here for it. It's just the Flashpoint storyline is so expansive.
Yeah. Yeah, I just hope they have a plan. That's my biggest thing. Like Suicide Squad 2, I'm cool with. And the only reason I am is because of James Gunn, because I doubted him with Guardians of the Galaxy. And man, he hit a home run on both those movies. So I'm hoping he can do the same with Suicide Squad. And I think he will. But I'm anxious to see how he does it.
Yeah, I'm holding out hope for DC Fandome. Fandome.
Yeah, that was super weird. But they're bringing Henry Cavill back. You know, he's not getting his own movie, but he's at least going to be a part of the universe.
Which just makes me very nervous about the DC universe as a whole. Like, it just doesn't seem like a cohesive plan yet.
No, it doesn't. And I'm hoping that they take I'm hoping that it comes up fairly quickly. Like, I'm hoping they figure it out fairly quickly. Like, or they have at least. Because it doesn't seem like they have a plan. They've never seemed like they've had a plan. And that's why I'm kind of like, all right, if I'm going to watch these, I'm just going to watch them as movies. I'm not going to look at this like it's the next Marvel thing.
So here's a question then. Because you mentioned that you're a gamer also. Have you see any of the
I like playing video games.
Slight. So DC Fandome also put out the game trailer for Gotham Knights.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that one also?
I am all about it. Those are the types of games I really enjoy, like the Spider-Man game. That I really liked the Friday the 13th game. I really want to play. There's a
Friday the 13th game.
Yeah. Oh, have you seen that? You get to play either. No. You get to play either as Jason, or you get to play as counselors. And as counselors, you have to try and survive. As Jason, you have to try and kill. And you could play like
just murder as many people as possible.
It's so intense and it's fun and it's creepy too. Like it's a fun game. If people who like Dead by Dawn or Dead by Night or something, I can't remember the computer.
Dead Before Dawn.
Dead Before Dawn. Yeah. People who like that will definitely like Friday the 13th, and it's fun to play online with people too.
Okay.
But I am definitely down for the new Batman game. I'll play them all.
So my concern is, and here's it goes back to the DC Cinematic Universe. I don't think that they know what to do with their characters, because they featured prominently, and I'll tie this back in to the cinematic universe, but they featured prominently Batgirl, Nightwing, Robin, Damian Wayne, and Red Hood. But they kind of excluded like my favorite Robin, who had his own comic series for all of the 90s and most of the mid 2000s, Tim Drake, who they actually introduced in the Arkham series as that Robin, but now he's mysteriously missing from the new Gotham Knights game. So I was like, you're excluding characters, but then you're keeping the ones that people are familiar with, but you're introducing the new ones before you give people time to understand who the new characters are.
It's so
everybody going back to the Suicide Squad and everybody that they introduced there. Like, people are familiar with Harley Quinn, but you didn't even give Deadshot his time to be developed as a full character.
Oh, 100%. And if anybody was as flushed out as Harley Quinn, it was Deadshot because of Will Smith. Definitely being one of the stars of that movie. But that's a whole different problem. Because you've heard the rumors about that, right?
No.
And I'm just saying this is speculation and it's just rumors. But the possibility that there may have been something between Margot Robbie and Will Smith during that time. And that's why he didn't come back for the sequel. Because remember, they did those two movies together. They did Suicide Squad, and they did, I think it was called Focus or something like that, where they played conmen who were trying to play some rich guy. And
I didn't see that one.
So it was actually pretty good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that more than Suicide Squad. But there was heavy rumors because like that was around the time that he and Jada broke up, like, or separated like shortly thereafter. And there was a lot of speculation that was why. You know, and you know, that whole thing has been played up recently pretty heavily. And again, I don't really deal in rumors, but that is the reason I heard he didn't come back for the sequel to Suicide Squad. You know, because he worked it out with Jada, and it was just kind of like stay away from it. You know.
Okay.
So that was yeah. That was so that's why we don't get that shot.
Okay.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, but you know, it sucks that we're not getting him back because he was a pretty good character.
Exactly.
And you're right. He was like one of the main leaders back in the day, wasn't he? Of in the comics of Suicide Squad.
Yeah. So I don't know if you follow the DC animated universe at all, but like they keep putting out Suicide Squad movies over there also. And Deadshot is always the leader of the team.
Yeah, and that's why I thought, because even in the CW TV series he was too, until they killed him off because Will Smith was going to play Deadshot and they didn't want to have an overlap. It was that was their original reasoning. They're like, all right, we're taking him off of here, and that actor lost his job playing him because supposedly they were going to try and work out a Suicide Squad like TV show, or at least on Arrow, they were going to have like a 5 or 6 episode arc. And because they started doing the movie and started working on the first movie, they completely shut it all down.
And see, that just goes to show that DC does not have their whole universe together. If you got like a Supergirl TV show or a Green Arrow TV show, a Flash TV show, and then the Legends of Tomorrow, but you don't have them all in one universe to kind of explain where all these people are or why they don't have more crossover major episodes, like you're not doing yourself a service by then just shoehorning in random movies.
Yeah, and I'll say this for that. I remember when they were doing Batman versus Superman. That's when I think Arrow was in its second season. There was no other shows. And Stephen Amell was like very outspoken, like, why aren't you connecting the two universes? You should be, like, because it makes sense to do Batman versus Superman, Wonder Woman, all on the big screen, and then do all of like Green Arrow and the Flash and everybody on the small screen, and then have them all team up at some point when they do the Justice League movie. And then you can flesh out every character. And I thought that was a great idea when he said that. I thought that would have been perfect and worked. I mean, the problem being is like the shows started being written poorly after a while.
True.
So it really wouldn't have worked too well with the. Well, I actually can't even say that because the movies were written poorly. I am not excited for Wonder Woman 84. Like, you know, like it doesn't look.
I'm really not.
But I love that first one.
Yes, I will completely 100% agree with that one. I'm not looking forward to Wonder Woman. I saw the trailer for Suicide Squad, and I think my biggest turnoff for Suicide Squad was the inclusion of John Cena, and I can't tell if he's supposed to be playing Orion or which character he's actually supposed to be playing.
He's supposed to be playing Peacemaker. So he's basically the dude who kills people for peace. Yeah, if they don't believe in peace, he kills them. It's going to be a funny character under James Gunn. I have a feeling, but
that may be true, but I don't know that character from the comic books. I have a large collection. I've never heard of this character.
There's so many though. Like that's the thing. Like especially with James Gunn, like he could have Peacemaker. Let me look up what year he came out because he looks like he's much older. So the original Peacemaker first appeared in Fightin' 5, number 40 in 1966. And he didn't do much since. So he's unknown. His first appearance, and it looks like his last appearance in comics was in Justice League International in 1994. I don't think he showed up in much. So I guess it's just because you're going to get, like you said, with Polka Dot Man and everything, you're going to get a lot of people when it comes to James Gunn. He just likes interesting characters, I think. It's really what it comes down to. But
speaking of John Cena, have you seen the trailer for Fast and Furious 9?
Oh, yeah. I'll be there. Dom's brother. It's absolutely true. I can see that. I mean, it's all about family, right?
So I have this past week, I rewatched all 8 Fast and Furious movies.
Did you watch them with your daughter?
Yes, I did. No, she did. Did she watch all of them?
I don't blame her if she didn't.
No, she didn't. She watched all the Mission Impossible movies.
Nice. I expect to hear how she liked all of them because you were only on the second one when we talked. So.
Yeah, she figured out the MacGuffin trick and then she got annoyed.
Yeah, that'll happen.
So she made it to not 6, 4, 5, 4. That was the one with Paul Patton.
Yeah, I like that one. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, she says that's her favorite one.
Smart.
So that was the good one. And then after that, she was like, they're all the same. It's like, yeah, but you just have to figure out new ways to save the world.
I know it really does come about, but I like how they start tying it in and putting like an evil organization up against them and such.
I really did, but we were talking about Fast 9, and I've come to realize where Dominic Toretto got his superpowers, and it was Fast and the Furious 4, where he gained clairvoyance on from smelling acid burns from NOS intakes, and that's where his superpowers came from. That is now how we can jump a car off a cliff and magically hope that a cable is going to catch the rear wheel to swing it around to be caught by an airplane.
So what you're telling me is, in reality, this happened and he's laying in a hospital bed in a coma. And every time a new nurse or doctor or patient comes into his room, they're automatically added to the family.
Yes.
So you're telling me John Cena is playing a doctor, which is less realistic than everything you just said.
Yes.
I can't accept the coma. I like it.
I mean, I love them to death, and I'm going to go see it. But I was like,
It's a lot.
You drove a car off a cliff to be caught by an airplane. I don't understand how you even fathom that.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I'll accept that because, you know, magnets, whatever. I'll take it. They've done so much. Here's what I don't understand. It looks like Dom follows them and runs over that bridge cable, which is like a vine. He runs over the thing, and then it's attached, and the car is just like swinging around the island. Here's what I can believe. I can believe to an extent. This is suspension of disbelief, but I can believe it to an extent where John Cena's character is so well technologically advanced because of Charlize Theron's character that he can drive the car off of a cliff and the plane will pick him up with, again, magnets or whatever. But here's the thing, like, I don't care how mad I am at somebody. First of all, they just drove off a cliff and got taken away by a plane. So I don't know why you're driving off the cliff after them. You're not doing anything. Your whole plan is to swing to the next island. They're not on that next island. They're flying away in a plane. So that's your plan, is to just like swing to the next island. How do you know? All right. So you're not that good of a driver. You're not that good of a driver to accept that, all right, if I run over this, it will get attached to the bottom of the car and swing me to the next island. That's not even possible. It's not even, you can't even fathom something like that. And he just, like, it's not even misses a beat. He's just like, this is my plan. And then boom, he just drives to it. And it works. And it works.
Like, guys, I think we jumped the shark.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Both cars jump multiple sharks because they're swinging from island to island. So in their cars, they are jumping all those sharks down in the water. They've jumped every shark movie. In fact, the only way out of this is if Fast 10 is a shark movie. And
they have to collect the Infinity Stones to fight the Avengers. That is the only next logical step.
No, you got to get there. You got to get there, and you got to fight Jaws first. And the way you do that is underwater speed racing. And then the Megalodon comes out. And I can't even, like, I'm writing it for them. They're going to do this. By Fast 11, Jaws is going to become family.
Exactly.
Everybody becomes family. And I like how he was so upset with The Rock. He's like, fine, I'll get John Cena and we'll make him actual family. Oh, Fast and the Furious.
Oh, I love it. I'm so here for it.
I do it. I will see every single one of them, no matter what. But come on. It's so bad. It just is.
And again, like I said, I'll rewatch the entire series from the beginning, and to see how we got here is amazing.
It's so weird, isn't it? Because I can believe Statham and The Rock break apart and they're like superheroes, because they at least, like, you can be like, well, I mean, they were both well-trained spies working for high-end government officials. So like you could say, all right, they're trained,
I can see that.
Dominic Toretto was stealing DVDs and TV sets, box TV sets, off of the back of trucks. Like, he grew up on the streets.
And they're now the best driving team in the world at car theft.
The only driving team that the U.S. government will go to when they need them. Because nothing says we're going to win against a tech-savvy entrepreneur who has a nuclear warhead submarine or whatever, like, let's get the car guys who are not trained or government officials in any way, shape, or form.
That we can't control.
The one
and they may do something, whatever, but let's go get the car guys.
And my favorite is Brian was a police officer, just a regular police officer who got this. That was like his first undercover detective job. He wasn't even a detective.
Exactly.
He was picked because he looked young. Well, I guess he was young, but and then somehow became an FBI agent. I can believe that.
I can see that one.
He's an FBI agent, but what they don't get, FBI agents don't go to other countries and do manhunts. That's the wrong agency. So, like when he was chasing down Dominic Toretto in the fourth one, I'm like, yeah, but that's not what FBI agents do. They don't go to other countries and do that. Like they'll do it in America because that's what.
Well, he didn't go in an official capacity when he went to Mexico. He had left the force because they had killed Letty, and they found out that he went back to Mexico. So he turned in his badge and then did the secret mission, and then like, oh, I'm back,
dude.
Well, Dom's going to jail. Oh, well, I quit. Wait, didn't you just you quit to quit?
And then came back. Because that's how we do things here.
Yeah, because family.
Here's what bugs me is he was an FBI agent, but every time they run into like when they ran into Kurt Russell or they ran into any other like huge black ops shadow government official, they would look at Brian and he'd be like, yeah, no, it's true. What? How do you know that? How do you know that? They don't tell you all the secrets. You're not CIA. You were an FBI agent.
And you didn't have that much clearance to know all of this.
You weren't even like a well-trusted FBI agent. They sent you after Dominic Toretto to prove yourself that you weren't a criminal. Like,
and then you failed at that.
They're not telling you about all the secret government. And I hate to talk bad about Paul Walker, so I'm prefacing this by saying I'm talking bad about Brian.
Yes, Brian, not Paul Walker. I love Paul Walker's movies.
And I love these movies. He was fantastic, but I can't.
No, it's the logic. It's the logic behind the movie. That's the problem.
It so is. It really is. So I gotta ask you: are you planning on going back to the movies anytime soon for any of these new ones coming out?
Not this year. There's a couple I saw your review on Unhinged, and I will admit I was really jealous, and I'm really upset that I cannot go see this in theaters, but I just cannot put because I would have to go by myself, and just being inside for any length of time longer than 30 minutes. Do I go inside? No, because usually I go out, pick up food, and then I'll come back. So if I'm outside for longer than, say, inside a building for longer than 10, 20 minutes, I start getting super nervous.
Mm-hmm.
So I really do want to go see Unhinged. I want to see, that was another one I saw. No, that's in Korea. So there's the other Train to Busan Peninsula is also coming out. So I want to go see that. But I just can't put my family at risk to go back to the theater.
Oh yeah, I 100% understand that, man. I definitely do. And the only reason, because I'm friends with the owner of the theater here, the Alamo that I go to, and they were the first. I think they're still the first Alamo that's open, and they were the first movie theater really anywhere that opened back up. They did it in such a way that, man, I've been to a few movies since they've opened, because I had to go to a world premiere for a friend's movie, and I had to do a few others. And I got to tell you, it was they handled them. They are handling themselves really well, and they have not let up at all.
So you're the theater out by you, that's the Alamo Draft House. And I love going to the Alamo just for like the complete actual movie experience and actually being able to order food in the theater. How are how are they handling food orders, or are they doing food orders? And how is the theater capacity?
There's like nobody in there. Um, I went and saw First Contact maybe a few weeks ago, and I was literally the only person in the theater. If for Unhinged, they only sell at 30% capacity. So however many seats there are, Sonya, they're only selling 30% of them, and they separate them by rows. And
Uh,
you can pick your seat, but if you pick, say, like it's you and a friend, and you pick seats like 2 or 3 apart from each other,
yeah.
the next ones after that, 2 or 3 apart, will not be sold. You know,
Oh,
actually, it's more like 5 apart. Um, and they encourage you to choose other rows. So when we went to go see Unhinged, I went to see it with a buddy of mine, Rob, who was on there, and
mhm.
we sat about 3 seats apart from each other in the third row, which is like the main aisle row. So like there was really nobody near us, and there was only like 7 other people in the theater, and it was like 100-person theater,
Yeah.
and everybody was separated like far out from each other. Now, when they do the food, everything is in containers. Everybody is completely. Um,
Yes.
they're doing like checking temperature. They're making sure everybody's getting tested. They are everything is prepared in containers with gloves that are changed out after every time they do something or interact with somebody else, and they're completely covered. So it's an experiment. I don't. I trust this theater. That's why I do it. But I've seen about 4 movies now since July, um, in this theater, and I wouldn't go anywhere else. Like it's because I
Mm,
know the owner and I trust this theater and I see how everybody's doing things. They're out. There are a skeleton crew of people there who are working. Like I think it's one waiter that works on all the movies, maybe 2 at most on a busy day, and one cook who's doing all the orders.
mm,
So it's definitely interesting to see, but it's I, I trust it enough to every once in a while go. Like I want to see Bill and Ted this weekend, and I want to see Tenet, and other movies like that. But since I went and saw Unhinged, I don't know if I'm going to go. And it's really just about paying attention to the numbers too. If our numbers are down around here, I'll go. But if they ever start to rise, I'll stop going.
yeah. And see, that's just the thing out here. Like I know the instant that the Alamo. Well, so I've got three. There's Tally-Ho, Village, and then the Alamo. Then there's the Maryland side. So I've got like four movie theaters out by my house. And
Yeah.
the moment any of them open up, like we've got kids just waiting to go out, period.
Yeah.
So the moment everybody's like anything opens up outside of food or restaurants, like I I just can't put the family at risk yet. And with I hate to bring this down on a somber note, but my wife like lost a bunch of people in New York to COVID. So so it really scares her a lot to like have us go out for any extended period of time. So I'm like, I don't want to risk it. Like if it hits that close to home. So it's
Yeah.
I love movies. I love going to the movies.
I
But
I completely understand, and I completely like. There's no like, if anything, like I'm feeling more like Mary does not go. Mary will not go. We've been in. I haven't had any contact with anybody, um, other than on the show, and that isn't even the physical. That's all through Zoom.
virtual, yeah.
And when I go to the theater, like I went with my buddy, but we didn't even go in together. Like he sat down, I sat down, I came in later, sat down, and like we talked from those 3 seats apart from each other, but we kind of kept it, nice and easy. Like, after the movie was over, like, all right, man, I'll talk to you later. And then like we talked on Zoom about the movie. We didn't really hang out and do anything. They did have a film festival one weekend where it was like 3 movies one day and then 3 movies the next day. And the whole festival was for the Psycho Cinema. If you see it behind me right here, they do like this film festival all the time, at least twice a year. And they were trying it. It's usually an overnight watch 6 movies in a row festival. This was watch 3 movies and then come back the next day. Still super safe. Still felt really good. I watched 1 movie and I didn't stay. I was like, I just felt uneasy. And there was nobody in there, because everybody was like, they'll eat, put their mask on. Like they'll take a few bites and then put their mask back on, which, I go with, but, like I'll do maybe 1 or 2 movies a month. And then any other time after that, I'll go to the drive-in.
Yeah, see, out here, like, although we have the land, we don't have a whole lot of outdoor activities. So I think my neighborhood is actually going to put on a Sonic the Hedgehog screening for us, just for our local neighborhood.
Nice.
So I'm thinking about like trying to go out for that, but we'll see how everybody actually is, because again, it's once my 5-year-old goes outside and he sees other kids playing, like thought process goes out the window. I'm free.
Yes. Yeah. No, and I get it. I definitely there with you. And it sucks because like we're doing virtual with the kids. So they're going to be doing virtual learning. Tommy, because, being 8, like you said, like they're just going to want to be around their friends. And like they, kids don't keep it in their mind that like you have to stay separated all the time and wear your mask all the time. I mean, we barely get it as adults. They're not going to get it. So
exactly.
it gets tough, and it's hard to force kids to do something. So I didn't. And Mary and her father and his father talked about it, and like it was like kind of all agreed, like do virtual. It's the safest bet.
Yep.
And Jack's school, he was going into preschool or pre-K, as it were, and this was his first year in pre-K 1, where he was just going to get a chance to finally be with kids again in school. And they canceled that. They're like, we can't keep these kids separate, like 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, So I was like, I get it.
So Xavier's in the exact same situation, and I really feel bad for him about it, because this would have been his first chance to kind of see people outside of his daycare and kind of be outside of our neighborhood, away from like traditional daycare.
Mm-hmm.
And everything's going to be online now.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy times, man. And that's why, like, I think going to the movies was just more about getting out, and like I'm the only one who does it.
Right.
And that's where like I can look at and reserve my seat that's far away from everybody else. But I really, and like I'll go see early shows where there's nobody there, stuff like that. Like I won't go at night. That would just be. I think you're right in trouble to do that.
Yes.
So I just I'll go during the day and kind of just play it out and see what happens. But yeah, it's been pretty good so far. And again, I trust the theater. If I didn't see what they were doing and all the cleaning that they're putting into it and stuff like that, like especially even during that festival, like in between movies, they took an hour between each movie to just thoroughly clean everything out and disinfect everything. So I mean, you're taking a lot of time to go and do that, for a theater, and that means you're taking it seriously. Again, if I see the numbers spike, I'm back, and that's the only place I go. So
right.
pretty crazy. I don't, even when we order food, like it's delivered, it's put in the back, and we don't interact with anybody, So
Yeah. And see, that's the thing that I'm really just kind of mad at. Like on on a yearly basis, I'll go to the movies once a month by myself, and I'll go like, what did I see? What was the last thing I saw? Okay, I saw Sonic the Hedgehog in theaters. I also saw uh I don't know if you're into anime at all, but I saw Dragon Ball Super, the movie, in theaters. Um
is that a newer one that came out?
yes, it's the one where they actually remade Broly as a canon character. Um, so I lost my mind. So, and here's the thing about me going to movies and why I go so much by myself. Even though I'm almost uh, a lot of decades uh, old, I still get super excited and turn into a complete fan when I go see a movie that I like. So I remember the last time I took my daughter to see Aladdin, the new one, with Will Smith, right? And Aladdin is probably one of my favorite Disney movies, and I can sing "Friend Like Me" like verbatim off top, and I completely go into it. And so as we're coming out of the theater, like I just start going into the song and I sing the notes like I regularly sing the notes at home, and she just left me. She completely ghosted me, and she was like, "I do not know him. I'm out." And I was like, "Oh well, I'm just having fun." She was like, "Ed, you're crazy. Like, please stop embarrassing me." No, I'm going to keep embarrassing you.
And that's how it works. That's how you have to do it.
So when I go see movies and films like we were talking Fast Nine, I want to see that in theaters because I know I'm going to have a ridiculously good time with it. But just being around people right now, it just makes me super nervous.
I don't blame you at all. I definitely 100% get it. I'm nervous walking in, so I fully understand. And like I said, like, so when I belong to this like Victory Rewards member for Alamo, and they count how many movies you've seen, of all time since I joined. And I think since I've joined moving here, I've seen like 53 movies. And so like that's a year and a half worth. Last year, I know I saw 37 movies in the theater.
Ooh.
And I've only seen 4 at the Alamo since this started. Since we've been in this lockdown. So that tells you from like January to like March 13th. I was like, I saw how many movies, to get me into like 48, or no, I'm at 54 now, I think. So like I saw 38,
50 movies.
38. No, I saw 38 to 50. It'd be
Nice.
From January to March, in the beginning of March. So like, yeah, I try to go see as many as I can. I go to the film groups to go check those out and stuff like that. So for me, it's like I'm with you. Like you want to get out and you want to see it. Like we're movie theater people, I think. But yeah, this is definitely a tough time. That's why the drive-in's been kind of a breath of fresh air, honestly. We moved here and we have a drive-in like 15 minutes away. So
yeah, my wife was talking to me about this one earlier today. Like she wants to get out and just go take the kids to do something, but it's just like, what do you do to get everybody out at the same time and still be safe?
yeah, it's tough. We don't even know. Like we aren't even sure, like where to go, what to do as family. Like, I mean, we go outside, like I'm sure you do, but
Yeah.
You got to get away sometimes. So we'll go for drives, things like that. You know.
Yeah. And I take my daughter out to, so my daughter is a gymnast, so she goes out like 3 times a week. And she has to do the social distancing for her gym and all of the policies that they have in place. And I try and take, like when I go pick her up or drop her off, like I just take my son and we just kind of drive for a second. It just gets you away from the house just for that brief couple minutes, and you breathe something other than the AC of the house.
Yeah, it's so tough and it's so stressful. And that's why like movies for me are it's so weird. They've always been an escape, and now it's like literally an escape, like a chance to get away and reset from the family. Um, I wish you guys had like a drive-in theater near you. Where are you guys located? Like just like
So
Maryland?
we're out in Leesburg, Luckett's area.
Yeah, so I think the only one close. Oh no. Ashburn Alamo. It just opened up as a drive-in.
Ashburn, Alamo. Hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah. A buddy of mine online, Brian Loy, is one of the coordinators for it. They just did Jaws the other day.
If that's the case, that may be the plan for this weekend.
Yeah, I don't know how often they're doing it, but follow Alamo Ashburn Film Club, or even just Alamo Ashburn, and you'll see the events. I'll look it up for you and just see what's going on, because like they're doing a drive-in theater, so that gives you a little bit of a break. But I don't know how far you are from Ashburn.
Ashburn is I'm 30 minutes from everything. So Ashburn is about 35, 40 minutes.
How far away from Stephen City are you?
Who?
Like Winchester area.
45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, so I would check Stephen City and see how far, because a buddy of mine lives in Leesburg and he comes out to Winchester all the time for work. That's another option at least. So like if Alamo there isn't doing the drive-in and you don't want to drive the 45 minutes there, I think Stephen City's only like 45-minute drive from you. And they have the family drive-in, which is just a drive-in movie theater. So you'd be able to do that there if they do it.
Yeah, definitely send that one to me. Because the one that I found for Ashburn is technically my Alamo, the one that I actually go to on a regular basis. But I don't see their driving lot. So definitely send it to me.
Yeah, I will. Every time I hear something, I'm gonna tag you in it, and I'm gonna invite you into the group for their film club, so you can check it out, because they're always having stuff, and at least that will give you a chance to kind of get out of the house. I think you'll have fun with the drive-ins too. We have the minivan, so like we just open up the back and kids lay out. We put the chairs out, or if it's just Mary and I who go, we'll just park and we'll sit with the air conditioning on and watch the movies. We saw Jaws and Jurassic Park that way.
Awesome.
Yeah, and they've been doing so many classic movies now because there's no new content. They did Ghostbusters. They had Grease and Footloose and just tons of stuff going on. And so you're going to see a lot of fun stuff out there.
Sorry, I had Footloose go off in my head.
No, dude, I'm all about it.
So, speaking of classic movies, I've come to realize that this is my daughter's favorite genre, and we talked about this last time where I was trying to figure out what happened to good child actors.
So funny that you mentioned this. That's so funny. And I realize you don't understand why it's funny because I haven't told you yet, but I interviewed a child actor today. And like,
okay.
we really got into like talking about that and that side of things of being a child actor. So He was you ever see A Christmas Story?
Yes.
He was the kid who got his tongue stuck on the pole. Scott Swartz is his name.
Awesome.
And he was also in the Toy with Richard Pryor. He played the kid who his dad bought Richard Pryor for him as a toy.
I know exactly who you're talking. I can picture his face. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so I interviewed him today. We were talking, and actually it's so funny because we started talking about like child actors, and then he's from Jersey and I'm from Jersey, so then we just went on this whole tangent about talking about Jersey for a while. It was fun. It was fun to talk to him. But it was funny when you mentioned child actors, and so anyway, please ask the question. That threw me back to that's what we're talking about.
So I was thinking back on like 90s movies for child actors, and by the way, I made my daughter watch Leon the Professional last night.
Nice. I saw that on the Facebook.
And we got into a discussion about like actors for Disney Channel movies today versus like what Natalie Portman was doing in 1994. And she was like, there's not an actor that I can think of outside of Stranger Things that can hold a candle to this girl right now. And I was like, I gotta show you The Good Son.
Oh God. And it's so true too, because when you see Macaulay Culkin in that, you're like, yeah, it's very different from what you were in Home Alone.
In Home Alone.
He was good in Home Alone. Like, you can't put him down. He was great in Home Alone.
No.
But yeah, The Good Son's a very different movie.
But see, then I like, as I was sitting there thinking about it, then I went back to like The People Under the Stairs and the kids in that movie, The Goonies, which my daughter, that's also one of her requests. And like just the classic action adventure movies, and Ernie Reyes Jr., who literally grew up on camera.
Yep.
And I was like, where are the child actors of today? And like, what are we doing with their careers? Like, true, you have It Chapter 1 as good actors.
Mm-hmm.
And you got the kids from Stranger Things, but I can't think of too many other shows where you have good child actors.
Yeah, well, it's so weird because Disney and Nickelodeon kind of have it's kind of them when it comes to child actors that you think of.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the most of recent years, I would say of the last like 10 or 15 years, the most famous actor to come out of that who broke out and became a movie star was probably Zac Efron.
Okay.
So if we take that, and he's like he's now our like top level.
But even Zac Efron hasn't really done like, I want to say like truly. Well, hold on, wait a minute. I got to go through his whole catalog.
Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
But even he has demons, man. Like he's completely sober now, and that was after having to go to rehab. So like these kids, man, I feel so bad for them because they get sucked into like this life, and it just seems like it's just problems,
Yeah.
And they get their money stolen from them because they don't know how to deal with their money. And this is something we were talking about in the interview and stuff today about, like we should be teaching kids how to balance a checkbook, like some of the things they learn in school, they don't even need, they'll never use again. But why aren't you teaching them how to balance a checkbook, which we all need to learn how to do,
Or pay taxes, or any of the other life skills that you'll actually need.
Right? Yeah. It's mind-boggling to me sometimes, but you see all of these child actors that kind of have devastating lives afterwards. So where are all the recognizable faces? Because it's Disney and Nickelodeon, like you don't really have those tropes like you did in like TGIF. Like when Urkel showed up, Urkel was a big deal. Then you had all like if you remember the Cosby Show, even like you had Rudy, and then when she grew up, you had Raven Simone step in, and that's like those were the bankable stars. Like, what's the one they just redid? Full House.
Yeah.
Well, you had the Michelle Tanners, I guess. I can't remember the real names, but you know,
Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen.
Yeah, they were the cute ones that like were big powerhouses. They're the only ones that became probably the most successful of all time out of child actors because they have more money than most of Hollywood now. Like they turned theirs into an empire and they didn't have parents stealing the money from them. So they were able to go off and like they're like multi-millionaires. Like that's why they never have to act again. They don't want to. They just do what they want. So that they'd probably be a case of like the good part of being a child actor, you know, and like how it can be rewarding if you're responsible. But they don't do that now. They don't do those types of shows that give a chance, and movies don't really do it that often either because it's like I call it the Disney method. Kids are interchangeable, you know, like this show is popular right now. Hannah Montana is popular now. But when this ends and we can't bank off you anymore because you're clearly a teenager and not a kid anymore, we're just going to start a new show. And then that person will be popular. And that was Demi Lovato. And then Selena Gomez. And now they've all had careers afterwards, but they've all had massive problems too. Because they never got to the height of what they were in Disney.
Right.
You know, like they may be big stars out in the world. They're celebrities. I wouldn't even say they're stars. They're not movie stars. They're not even really music stars. They're celebrities who do music or sometimes act.
What happened to you? Why are you?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, I love you too, son.
It's the best feeling.
Are you going to bed? Okay. Love you. Bye. That makes me nervous.
No.
No, it only makes me nervous because like he came, like his attitude when he came in was just a little off.
Yeah.
Like usually he does come in and tells me he loves me and like, again, I agree. It's the greatest feeling in the world. But he's just a little off, like energy wise. I'll go figure out what that is in a minute.
Yeah, I'm sure he's tired. I don't blame him. Jack and Tommy were too. Like when I was coming down there, I was just kind of like, all right, bye. Yeah. Then they get super excited about what I'm doing. But I really think that your question is great about. Mary just messaged me and said that was adorable because she's watching. I really think like just to go back to the child actor thing though is YouTube killed it. Look at how many kid stars there are on YouTube now.
Yes.
And they completely manufacture their own videos. So there is no Hollywood to press on them about things. So they grow up and they do their own thing. So I'm not saying that they don't have problems or things don't arise that way, but YouTube has killed making a star anywhere else because that's the most watched, or TikTok too now and things like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that's why we don't see the stars that we do,
So I hadn't thought of YouTube as that platform yet, but you're absolutely right. Like, in terms of just technology and social media, people can reach audiences much easier than a company ever getting behind you anymore.
Yeah.
And so I'll look at not to shout out a particular YouTuber, but I look at King Batch. King Batch was a popular Vine Viner or whatever you call him, who transferred that into a movie role, who then transferred that into a independent company. So he is now a CEO of his own company just by doing his own social media thing. and he never had to go through the jumps and rigmaroles of dealing with a company and applying for talent agents. Yes, he probably still has an agent, but he pretty much manufactured his own identity so he can still manage himself as he needs to. So that really does explain that makes sense for how child actors kind of went by the wayside. I never thought about that.
Yeah, and it's really crazy like how it all plays out. Because I was a guest on another person's podcast last night, and they were interviewing me, and I guess they have a network too. And we were talking about it, and he was like, we had this thing where we had this network, we were trying to put it all together, and there's a bunch of different shows, and we're treating it like a family. And he was like, but it fell apart. And he asked me, he's like, how are you doing it? Where it's not falling apart and it's staying together. And I was like, because I don't treat it like a family. I was like, anybody I bring on I trust them first and foremost. Like, I'm not going to bring if I'm like kind of iffy about somebody, like I just, you're not right for this. Like I follow my instincts, I guess. And I was like, and at the end of the day, like I have a clear, concise vision of what I want from my channel. And if a show doesn't work on that, like I give everybody who's on the network freedom to be creative, but like it's got to fit within the realm of what I'm doing. And if it doesn't, it's I'll drop shows, which I've dropped my own shows, saying like this just doesn't work. And you have to be willing to do that. You can't just stick to things that you really like, and if they don't work, they don't work. So like I was doing this show by myself for a long time, and I realized I was like, it's not going to work by myself, and all I really want to do is talk to people I'm really interested in having conversations with. So that's why I started doing the guest host thing. I was like, so kind of keep it fresh, and kind of bring on, and then like bring it down to like with you, like you're back on the show. You're the only person who's ever been on more than once.
Ooh, yay me!
Yeah. So like you coming on, like, so like it's coming around to a point where I will have, people on, more and more, because I enjoy talking. Like I enjoy talking to you, and so that's how I had to change it to make it work. Like, but if it didn't work that way, I would probably have just dropped the show. I would hate to drop this show because it was like my flagship. But that's how you got to think about it. And that's what I was telling him. I was like, if you want your network to work, you can't have everybody running the network. I was like, because then it's just not a vision. You don't have a goal. It's everybody's vision, So like you make your own network, and like we have Rob Paints the Movies. That was completely Rob's idea. He and his wife host it. I just programmed the show. They handle all the creative content of it. It fits well within what I'm doing on the Scene Snobs. And as long as it works and he wants to be on, like he's welcome to be on, But
awesome.
If he wants to take it and do something else, by all means, please go right ahead, No hard feelings, I guess is what it comes down to. Because, at the end of the day, I got to run it the way it works,
It makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, what's up, buddy? You had the black screen, so I didn't see you because I guess I was talking. And I hate that when it does that, because I like to see everybody I'm talking to. So, welcome back.
Say hi.
Hi.
What was your favorite movie this year so far that you've seen?
What's your favorite movie? Anything? Did you just take off my watch for no reason? Can I have my watch, please? Thank you. What was your favorite movie? Have you seen a movie with me this year?
The other Fast and Furious.
The other one? Which one? We watched 8 of them.
Say the one with the rock.
What do you mean the real life one? The first one? The one with the green Mitsubishi Eclipse that Daddy had?
I watched, not like the one I watched on your laptop, the one I watched on TV.
Which one was that? Was that the one with the gray Mustang?
No, it was
that jumped over the other cars?
no.
No.
Was it a cartoon? Because I know they just came out with a cartoon, Fast and Furious.
Yeah, I think it was the cartoon Fast and Furious.
Ah.
Netflix is definitely getting in on the Fast and Furious game.
Netflix is doing some interesting things. I will admit that part.
It really is, definitely. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't know if I'm going to keep them.
Yeah.
They have good shows, but like it just seems like it's.
So I've actually been watching a lot more Hulu than Netflix. Nothing against Netflix. In case brand deals come up, but um, I just haven't found as many shows on Netflix that I wanted to watch. I'm really interested. So we're on YouTube right now, and every once in a while we'll get a commercial for Free Ray Sean. I really want to watch that one. A new one came out today. The Comey Rule on Showtime showed me a commercial for a 2-day event movie for them. So I'm really interested in seeing a lot of the movies that are coming out.
Yeah, that one looks really interesting. Free Ray Sean looks great. And I'll watch anything Lawrence Fishburne's in. I don't care what it is. I watch interviews with him just because he's like my type of actor. He's just very cool and laid back, but he can play any role.
Yes.
That makes sense. But I just like he can play the villain, but he's a cool laid back villain, or he can play like a great dad character, or anything. Like he pulls it off. I like him better than Morgan Freeman, honestly. And those are the two that are always getting compared.
True.
And but Morgan Freeman's the one that gets all the narration roles. So
can you get a better voice other than James Earl Jones than Morgan Freeman?
That's a good question. Who would be the best?
You want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Okay, can you give
me? Well, why don't we wrap up, because you're coming back on the show at some point.
Yay!
I'm gonna bring it back on, man. Come on. But I understand the dadly duties, man, and that's the way it works. So I will let you go, and I will finish up here and do the outro. But remember, our reading for Star Trek is going to be Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Sorry, 7:30 p.m. I will send you all the information for it. And for everybody who's going to be watching, Jarrod is going to be playing who?
You!
And in a very cute-tastic episode, so it's going to be amazing. But thanks for coming on, my friends. I enjoyed doing the show with you. Go make a PB&J and go take a rest and relax, and I appreciate it.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks, man. Take care, bro.
Have a good one.
Bye. Well, everybody, that was our show. I always have a great time talking to Jarrod. He's always fun. This has been the Snobs podcast. As always, thanks for joining in. We have Star Trek week next week. We have a lot of people going to be a part of it. It's going to be so much fun. So real quick to do the rundown. Sunday, we have a live at 7:30. We're going to be doing a script reading of Cupid, which is a Star Trek Next Generation episode. It's a very fun episode. Then we're going to have what is it? The Star Trek panel the next night. Sorry, I'm looking all this up as I do this. The Star Trek panel the next night, which is the World of Star Trek. Then Snobs podcast going to have Joe Loud on. He's going to come on, and he's an expert in Star Trek. We're going to talk to him. Behind the Box is going to be a Star Trek episode. Thursday, Rob Paints the Movies. That next week is going to be Star Trek villain of some sort. So I'm not going to give away who. Then Friday, we're going to be doing the Snobs showcase. We're going to be we're going to be playing games, doing trivia, having conversation, Trek conversation. And it's going to be a really good time. So everybody join in. I put up the schedule on the social media. I will do that again at the end of the week, so everybody kind of knows what the rundown is. But stay tuned, enjoy it. Thanks for joining in tonight. Remember, Behind the Box is tomorrow live at 7:30 p.m. We are talking soundtracks and scores to movies that were better than the movie. That's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to be doing an analysis of the movie Xanadu, which was Lenny's choice, which is going to be a really good time. So also look out. I have a lot of interviews coming up this week, so stay tuned for that. My next interview is with Scott Swartz. So check that out. That should be out in the next couple of days. All right. Thanks very much, everybody. It was great talking to you, and have a good night. Bye.